We're very pleased to welcome into the studio the of that research, Shaharyar Umar, the Marketing Director of the Pan-Arab Research Centre, or Parc. Good morning to you, Shaharyar.
Very good morning
Salam
to
alaikum.
you. Ma'assalam.
What was the dollar figure for the regional ad spend?
The advertising spend in the region had consistently been growing since long time. If you look the figures at 2005, it was around $5.5 billion. And now in 2010, it was around $13.7 billion. And yeah.
I can see, obviously, 2005, 5.5 billion, and we had that massive boom with the property thing where there would have been this huge spike upwards. But I think most people would probably think, well, it's dropped way off since then without all the property advertising. But in your figures, it's continuing to go up.
In fact, if you look at the first half figures of 2011, the region for the first time has posted a contained decline of 4%, the regional spending. However, UAE has posted around 1% flattened growth.
Okay, because I've got the figures here. The advertising spend rose by 10.4%. Is that correct?
No. In fact,
in the first quarter of 2011?
I'm talking about, but maybe I don't recall the first quarter figure, but I recall the first half figure of 2011.
Okay, so the first quarter, according to your data, was up by over 10%. So in the first half overall, it actually declined by 4%.
Yes, exactly.
Good, I think we're clear on that now.
In fact, if you look from 2009 onward, there had been a lot of volatility in the region. And a number of markets were actually in red. A large number of sectors were also hit hard. So it was a kind of the region is not actually immune to global economic downturn, so that was actually playing a very detrimental role actually into that.
According to your research, classified advertising spend is still preferred in the UAE, and your figures show that the UAE classified advertising has increased to 9.2% from the first quarter of 2009 to 11.8% in the second quarter of this year. Now, this is a huge disparity if you look at this in comparison to Western markets, where classified advertising has declined. Figures show $19.6 billion of classified advertising in 2000 in Western markets, and that's declined to 5.6 billion in 2010. Why do people in the UAE region love classified advertising, or are these figures accurate?
Yes, these figures are definitely very much accurate as per to the measured ad spending. But let me make another clarification. The total value of classified advertising has in fact declined. But when we say the percentage classified advertising in newspaper, it has actually grown up. The newspaper advertising in UAE, actually it used to be around 75% of the total media share, and now it is something around 65, close to 65%. So newspaper is actually on the decline, but that decline in the classified advertising was not actually much visible, so the percentage of classified advertising in newspaper has in fact increased.
Okay.
It's interesting that classifieds seem to be doing so well. We tend to think of online classified sites sort of taking over from print, the likes of DubaiEye, etc. So that's a very interesting aspect to it. Given the economic woes that are still sweeping major economies, I'm surprised that there's any increase at all in ad spend. Do you think it's really just compared to the low base a couple of years ago after the property companies pulled out?
In fact, if you look into the advertising spending, it has been consistently, like since past 2009, again I want to reiterate that a lot of volatility has been seen. Actually, the fundamentals of the region are very strong. But however, the external factors have been playing quite a pivotal role, and hence it is, can say in the short term, it is volatility is being observed.
I want to move away from traditional advertising spend and look at now what is really in trend. If you look at social media, Facebook has some 500 million users worldwide, and also mobile applications market has become so strong. What kind of trends are you seeing in social media and mobile app ad spend in the Middle East, and particularly UAE?
Let me get into the internet usage, in fact. to initially answer your question, internet usage in the region has been growing very, very fast. It's showing a very robust growth. Internet usage that used to be around 49.5% in 2005 as per TGI surveys that was conducted by Parc in the region in partnership with Kantar Media. It was 49.5 in 2005. Now it is around 74%. And similarly, growth is being observed in Saudi Arabia, one of the key markets in the region. That is now it stands as 56%. So the usage, early adopters were the teenagers, and now it is being permeated into the elder sections of the society. But however, the standard metrics of measuring internet monitoring is not actually available. And there are other bottlenecks in internet advertising actually that are... Yeah, come again?
No, I was going to say, so what are you actually saying by that? That the figures actually aren't accurate? It's very hard to measure social media ad spend?
As of now, we are not actually measuring the ad spend in the region of internet. However, we are measuring the usage and who in fact are using. We know the demographic profile of the users. We know the consumer profile of the users. And there are a number of clicks measurements. But in fact, not only in this region there are bottlenecks. If we look at the global, there are definitely bottlenecks in measuring the ad spend of the internet, and there's kind of projected figures.
I read a survey recently, research actually done by Apps Arabia. And Apps Arabia is a UAE investment fund that helps to sustain and develop the apps industry here in the region. And I mean, we all know that the apps region is growing day by day. And actually the results show in this survey that 49% of smartphone users expect to upgrade to apps phones in the next 6 months. And that 96% of smartphone users have apps installed. And in the coming 12 months, 24% of smartphone users claim that they will spend more than $50 on apps, and that they would receive targeted advertising in return for free apps. What kind of trends are you seeing from your research on people wanting to spend advertising in app space?
The global advertisers are definitely testing the waters as of now. Like when we're talking about the total one of the biggest ad spenders, say P&G and Unilever in the region, and PepsiCo. In fact, I've spoken to them, and the agencies, top agencies, they are testing the waters, I must say. But still the bottlenecks remain. Like say, we are seeing 20% online viewers are reading newspaper online. And similarly, we are seeing around 3% watching television on mobile. Internet is not, but however, in our last survey, we observed that 54% adults agree that they never respond to pop-up banners ad. So there is a kind of dilemma actually over here. So it is like say ad avoidance is also there in the internet, and basically the global advertisers are looking at the standard metrics when we are talking about the application base, but the actual consumption is small in this region.
Finally, Shaharyar, a question very close to my heart, or I suppose more correctly close to my salary, radio. How did radio advertising perform across the region?
It is definitely growing, but the rate card of radios are very low in this region.
Do you really mean the price of radio advertising is cheap?
Yes, it is very cheap.
Compared to everything, or
compared to everything also, and most of in fact, internet is also cheap, but radios are still being better monitored across the globe. Not only the advertising of radio is cheap over here, it is also much cheaper than compared to other Western parts.
Well, I guess when you're using the term cheap, I mean we look at value for money.
I must rectify it. Like it's not cheap. Basically, I must say it is lower priced. Rate cards are very low.
And you have to sort of measure that against the penetration, don't you? About the sort of the number of listeners. Do you actually monitor and research the number of listeners in radio stations, TV stations as well?
Yes, we do that.
How big is the radio and TV market in this part of the world?
Television market is definitely growing at a very, very fast pace. In fact, television viewing has been growing since long time, and in fact, the ad spending on television now during the month of Ramadan.
I'm asking you about the viewers on television and the listeners on the radio. I mean, do you have any figures?
We do have, but I don't recall the actual viewers actually.
That's what.
But we can say in something is above 95% in for television.
Shaharyar Umar, the Marketing Director, Panab Research Centre, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Pleasure talking to you.